is happening, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today, I've got another PU match using that Sun team just because these guys are just way too fun to give up. And yeah, so this is against Tom from Twitter. And looking at the team preview here, it looks like a pretty solid matchup. I know I can take care of the Gastrodon easily because I'm grass as hell. Then he's got some, his other walls actually kind of caused me a little bit of problems in the Wall Rain and the Wheezing there. But I'm also worried about the potential Sticky Web coming from the Masquerain. That could be a problem, but overall this turns out to be a really good match. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. Alright, so as per usual, I'm just going to be leading off with my Liepard. I do want to get that sun up as early as possible and send out the old prankster. So he actually ends up leading off with Masquerain, which is kind of a problem. I don't really want to end up losing this thing just to a Bug Buzz early. So I am actually going to switch out here, and I figure I'll be able to get that sun up later. So I'm going to go right into my Lantern here. Pretty much just my special defense wall that can take, anything this thing wants to go for. I don't know what kind of set this is. I don't know if it's going to be Quiver Dance or a Sticky Web, but seeing as he let off with it, it's probably going to be Sticky Web. So he's now just going to bring in the Disco Pants bug on my Lantern. I know this thing is definitely just going to hit me with a Leaf Storm, so I do have to get out of here. Lantern is looking pretty useful. And I do realize that Victory Bell is actually a great check to this thing, considering unless it has a special hidden power, it's not going to really be able to do much to me. So the Leaf Storm comes, I resist the hell out of that, and he is going to get that contrary boost. But Victory Bell does outspeed that thing easily, and a Sludge Bomb will knock it out. And I do realize that Sludge Bomb actually hits a lot of his team pretty hard, so I'm just going to go right for that as the Wheezing comes in. It takes actually a decent amount of damage from it, and I realize this isn't too bad because I can just go right for a Sleep Powder, put this thing to sleep, and then I can have kind of some free options to what I want to do here. So I don't really know if this Wheezing wants to stay in on this matchup. I assume it probably has Flamethrower if he's going to bring it in against Victory Bell, but for now it's over there sleeping, and I'm actually just going to decide to switch right into my Liepard. I want to get that sun up and get this photosynthesis fucking going as soon as possible, so I bring in the Liepard here as he actually ends up switching as well. We get a double switch and he ends up bringing in the Zangoose. So this emo mofo over here is gonna get that toxic boost, and I don't really want to switch out here. I decided to actually just stay in and go for the Sunny Day, maybe hoping that he's gonna go for a Swords Dance or something like that, but I get the Sunny Day up, and unfortunately for me, he is actually just gonna go for the Facade. That is gonna knock out my Liepard, and that really sucks for this team because it's always nice to have the option for the Prankster Sunny Day, but so I probably should have switched out there, but I was kind of just playing aggressively, and at least I've got that sun up for a solid amount of turns here. So the secret weapon is going to come out here to take advantage of that sun, and I am actually Chlorophyll, so I'm going to be faster, and I decided to go for the Z-Power here. The reason being is because I kind of thought that he was going to bring in the Wheezing, so if he did, it would look like it would be able to do a solid amount of damage, and then maybe I'd be able to knock it out after that. But he actually just stays in. A regular Solar Beam actually would have been able to take this thing out, but kind of overkill there as Sunflora picks up another KO. And I'm out here just dancing on the grave of that Zangoose. So in comes the Masquerain. I don't really have much for this thing, and unfortunately I don't have Stealth Rock up yet, so that thing comes in pretty much for free. And here I'm going to go ahead and switch into my Castform. So I bring in Peter Griffin with the balls on his chin, and I am going to transform into the Sun form, as this thing is unfortunately for me going to go for the Sticky Web. So that's kind of annoying. I have to deal with the webs. I don't have any way to get rid of that. But I'm just going to go right for a Weather Ball here, trying to hit that thing with a Fire move, but he's going to bring in the Wall Rain, who's got way too much blubber, and this thing is going to absolutely eat that up. So the Weather Ball pretty much does nothing as Castform isn't able to hit too hard, but he tries his best. So yeah, that's all he can do. I'm going to switch out here. I expect him to probably just want to go for a Water move, and that is fine because I do have a Water Absorb Lantern, so I soak that shit up like a sponge, and I know that he does have that Gastrodon on the back of his team, so I can't really freely go for a Thunderbolt on that thing or a Volt Switch, so I predict the switch into the Snail, and I'm going to go for a Toxic, which actually ends up missing, which is quite annoying. So I'm actually going to end up switching out here. I'm going to go right back into my freaking Castform because I know this thing can't really hurt me, and I can threaten the hell out of it with a Solar Beam. So activate that Forecast, turn into my weird looking Sun form, and this thing is going to go for a Toxic of its own. So it's definitely better that Castform takes that Toxic rather than Lantern, so that's completely fine. And I'm just going to go right for a Solar Beam here, just hoping that he ends up staying in. I am Choice Scarf, so obviously I'm going to be faster than a lot of things, even with the Sticky Web. But he turns out to have the freaking Anti-Grass Berry, which I forgot was even a freaking thing. So with that, it's going to do less than half the Rindo Berry. I don't think I've like ever seen a Rindo Berry, so props to that Gastrodon. But yeah, so the sunlight is going to go away, and that is unfortunate because I'm just going to turn right back into my sad gray form, and I can't have any more solar beams because, well, I am locked into solar beam here. I guess I could stay in and go for that double turn, but since the substitute's up, it's not really worth it, and I'm going to tuck Castform in the back of the team for later. So here I decide to bring in Sunflora. I know that Gastrodon probably doesn't have a whole lot to hit me with unless it has Ice Beam, which case I can't actually live that. So the thing's going to go for a recover behind the substitute, and the only way I have to get Sunny Day back up is with this Sunflora. So I'm just going to stay in and go for that as this thing hits me with a Toxic, and that actually shows me that it doesn't carry Ice Beam, which is good to know. So I set up the Sunny Day one more time, and that's looking like pretty much the last opportunity I'll get to be able to bring that back up, because there's not a lot of times that that Sunflora is able to stay in and go for a free turn like that. So I do get the sun up. That's going to hang out for a little while, and in comes the Lurantis here yet again. I'm just going to go right for a Solar Beam and absorb that light, get that power of that fucking sun, and it's not going to do a whole lot to Lurantis because it's, you know, resisted and stuff. So it pretty much does like nothing. It's kind of a bummer because you have to choose between Chlorophyll or Solar Power for Sunflora. I feel like Solar Power probably is the better option, but I just wanted to be faster with this thing, so I have Chlorophyll this time. But I go for the Hidden Power Fire, and that's not going to do a whole lot of damage, as this allows him to go for a Super Power, which I actually live. This thing doesn't have much attack investment, but it is going to give him that boost, along with that physical defense boost, but not too big of a problem here. This Lurantis is whittled down pretty nicely, so I'm just going to stay in and go for another Hidden Power, but unfortunately, this thing actually has Protect, which is like, what the hell? How are you going to do that to my Sunflora? I'm so adorable. Like, how are you going to let me die to my poison? What the fuck? So, with the Protect there, it's going to allow this poison to knock me out, and that is a bummer because now my team is going to have to go without sunlight. I lost my Light Part, I lost my Sunflora, and now we are really putting these bad boys to the test. So I'm going to bring back in my my Castform here, just trying to take advantage of the last little bit of sunlight I've got. So I transform, and here I'm just going to, I actually expect to switch into the Walrein here, expecting the Weather Ball like he did last time. So I predict that switch, and I'm going to go for a Solar Beam, and I actually get that correct. This thing is going to come in on a Solar Beam, but unfortunately Castform is, you know, not the hardest hitting, so it's not quite going to be a 2-hit KO, and the sunlight is going to fade there. So away goes the sunlight for the rest of the match, and that is really a bummer. So I'm in here locked into Solar Beam, and I do want to end up switching out Castform in case I can pick something up with a nice little Choice Scarf Revenge kill later or something. And plus, Yellow Balls is a great switch into this Walrein. So this thing tries to go for an Encore, which actually would have been nice because I could have gone for another Solar Beam there, considering he went for that, but not too big of a deal, as I'm just going to go for a Toxic yet again, as back comes the Gastrodon. And this thing has given me quite the freaking problems, but I do still have Castform, who has Energy Ball, so I don't have to rely on Solar Beam, which is really nice, and at this point I'm expecting a Toxic here, so I don't want my Lantern to take that, and Griffin is already poisoned, so I can pretty much freely bring in Castform here. I get caught in some sticky web, not too big of a deal, as it does end up going for the Toxic, which is nice, and I was kind of thinking that he wouldn't expect me to have another grass move considering he saw Solar Beam, so I was really hoping that this thing was going to stay in here, but he is going to switch out, and he's going to bring back in the stupid Lurantis. So I really wish I had some Stealth Rock up at this point. I was kind of thinking that I should probably try to do that as soon as possible. It'll be nice against that Walrein and stuff, but yeah, so the Energy Ball happens against the Lurantis, doesn't really do much at all, as I'm over here getting hurt by some poison, but Griffin, he's doing his best. So here I'm going to take this opportunity to switch into my Check This thing, which is going to be my Victory Bell. So I believe this thing actually ends up going for a Protect, which is nice because this is pretty much a free matchup. And he does still have that Wheezing in the back of the team, but it's not going to be able to take too many Sludge Bombs. So I'm just going to go right for that, as in comes the freaking Wheezing yet again, who is still sleeping. He's been having a nice little nap there in his Pokeball, as the Sludge Bomb is going to do a solid chunk, but it's not going to be enough for another one to knock it out. Plus, he does have that Black Sledge, so I don't want to risk this thing waking up and hitting me with like a Flamethrower, so I am going to switch out. I know that Victory Bell is just way too useful at this point, so this is a great opportunity for me to bring in my Regirock. So I bring in old H-Face here, as this thing does wake up, and he's able to hit me with a Sludge Bomb. Hits me right in the H-Face, and, you know, that's fine. But here, I'm going to go ahead and set up that Stealth Rock, because I figure it's about damn time to get that shit up. The Masquerain is not really going to like that, along with the Walrein, so that's pretty nice. It's going to limit his switches there, as now he's going to go for the Will-O-Wisp. That's kind of why I was actually really hoping for that Sludge Bomb to poison. But I've kind of got to deal with that, as now I can pelvic thrust some stealth rock over there. So with the burn, I'm not going to be able to do too much with rock slide, but then I figure I might as well just stay in here and go for it, isn't kind of scout out what this Weezing wants to do. I know that he doesn't have much to hit me with, so I'm gonna go for that, as he actually ends up bringing in the fat freaking walrus, who does get hurt by a lot of stealth rock, and a rock slide is gonna be able to take that thing out. So I'm slowly whittling down the team, and it's looking like I've got a solid chance here, even without my son. So as I'm looking at it, Victory Bell is going to be the most useful for me here, so I really kind of got to conserve that thing and play it correctly, so hopefully I can get that thing to pretty much sweep. So in comes the Lurantis. I don't really have anything that wants to come in on an attack from this thing, so unfortunately I do have to stay in and take a Leaf Storm, but I know that I can take at least one of them, so I live that with 41 HP, and this allows me to hit it with a Rock Slide, which is not going to do much because of the burn, but at least it's something. I mean, it doesn't really matter, because I guess Sludge Bomb would take it out at like full health anyway. But he is able to finish me off with one more attack here, as we're both just chilling, eating our leftovers, and H-Face is pretty much just saying his last words. So I really just needed this thing to get up those stealth rocks, so that's really nice, as the Leaf Storm actually ends up missing. You know, it's like, bruh, just kill my Regirock already. I honestly just need to bring in a Victory Bell. So I go for one more Rock Slide and hope for a critical hit, as it doesn't happen, and that is fine because I'm still just pretty much waiting for this thing to die, so that way I can bring in a Revenge Switch. So he is going to end up knocking me out here. He decides to go for Giga Drain. I believe it doesn't really matter. Had he gone for another Leaf Storm, it would have given him another +2 boost. But it really does not matter, because Lurantis is so damn slow. It has what, like it's base 45 speed, so even with the Sticky Web, Victory Bell is able to outspeed this thing. So I bring in the Beastly Pitcher Plant here, get caught in some web, which doesn't really matter, and I'm just gonna go ahead and click Sludge Bomb, because nothing on his team really likes that. So in comes the Masquerain. He decides to sack this thing off just because it's not really that useful for him at this point, and it is going to intimidate me, but I ain't afraid of no fucking weird butterfly, as I'm just going to go for a Sludge Bomb. After the Stealth Rock damage, that is going to knock that thing out, and it's looking like setting up the Stealth Rock with Regirock turned out to be pretty useful. So now he can bring in the Weezing for free, and I know that I can go for a Sleep Powder, and then a couple Sludge Bombs should be able to kill it, but I really don't want to risk that Sleep Powder missing, because then he'd be able to knock me out, and I really need Victory Bell here to be able to win. So I bring in Yellow Balls, who is pretty much fit to handle this thing. As it ends up going for Sludge Bomb, I kind of expected it to have Flamethrower. You do usually see Flamethrower on Weezings a lot of the time, but that's pretty nice that he doesn't have it, as a Sludge Bomb doesn't do too much to me, but he gets the poison. And my fish is kind of fine with that, because Yellow Balls doesn't give a shit. So I'm just going to go right for a Thunderbolt here, hoping that he stays in, as he does, and he's just going to fire off another Sludge Bomb at me, which really doesn't do much, because I am max HP and special defense, as I actually get a critical hit and the para on that, which does kind of suck, but it's not too big of a deal, because Lantern wasn't all that useful in the rest of this match anyway. I mean, I guess it was kind of here to take care of the Weezing, but I am going to be able to outspeed now, and one more Thunderbolt is going to take care of that thing. So down goes the Weezing, and the road is pretty much paved for Victory Bell to hopefully be able to put this one in the bag. So Yellow Balls over here getting hurt by some poison. I'm at about half health, and I'm looking pretty nice here, as in comes the Lurantis, but I don't really want to switch into this thing, so I kind of just have to take a Leaf Storm and die here. So hits me with his stylish ass 80s pants, and a Leaf Storm is going to kill me. So down goes Yellow Balls, but you did good, buddy. And yeah, so now I can just bring in Victory Bell here. Like I said earlier, I am going to be able to outspeed even with the Sticky Web. I don't know why the hell they made Lurantis so damn slow. Are Mantises generally slow? I mean, I guess they kind of are, but they, I don't know, they can hop fast and stuff. But yes, I can just go for the Sludge Bomb. It is going to knock this thing out, and now his last Pokemon is going to be that Gastrodon. So all I've got left here is Victory Bell and the Castform, but seeing as I didn't see Ice Beam on this Gastrodon earlier, it probably doesn't have much to hit me with, so I can just go for the Solar Beam here even without the Sunlight up. That's completely fine, because I am going to be faster, so I go ahead and absorb that, as this thing ends up just going for a Recover, which is fine. And now I can pretty much just fire my my laser beam at this thing's freaking face. So that is going to luckily be enough to take care of this thing, since I got rid of that berry earlier. He does not have any defense against that, and that is going to be a dead Gastrodon. So I did still have Castform in the back of the team with Choice Scarf Energy Ball, which would have been able to knock that thing out if that didn't work. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. That was a pretty damn long match. It turned out to be a pretty good one. I had to work without the sunlight for a lot of the time, so I kind of put that team to the test. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe for some more Wi-Fi battles. Peace out.